All right. So, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first time we're trying a virtual reality welcome to the College of Science and Engineering. So we've called this Sciencing and Engineering 101, basically talking a little bit about what it's like to be part of the College of Science and Engineering here at St. Cloud State University. So a couple of quick introductions. To my right is Kelsey Stacken, the COSE Student Relations Director. I'll let you say a couple of things here, and just briefly, I am Alan Srock, meteorology professor here within COSE. You're going to see a bunch of people in here today, but the person running the camera, the person that set up this world, the person that did all the cool stuff is Mark Gill, so I wanted to make sure he got recognition for what he did. So Kelsey, why don't you talk us through what's coming up?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm sure you've gotten a bunch of emails from me. This is my VR. So you'll see me in person later on this afternoon. But like Alan said, my name is Kelsey Stacken, and I am the Student Relations Director here for the College of Science and Engineering. I am here to be with you throughout your entire time with us. Any questions you have regarding the college, transferring credits, or just in general academic questions, feel free to reach out for me. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about what is COSE. We're going to have a chat with our amazing deans we have here in the college, and then we'll get some advice from our faculty members before breaking out into your departments.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to have you do, since you represent the dean's office here, is explain a little bit about what COSE is. So here's the organizational chart.
Absolutely. So what COSE is COSE stands for the College of Science and Engineering. We are one of the largest colleges on the campus, if not the largest, and we have under us are our biology, our physics and astronomy, our chemistry and biochemistry, and our math and statistics. Those are under the college. We also have a school underneath our college for the School of Computing, Engineering, and Environment. That is our atmospheric and hydrological sciences. That's Alan's department for meteorology is housed under there. Environmental and technological studies, computer science and information technology, mechanical and manufacturing engineering, and electrical and computer engineering. So this is the College of COSE is the home of all of these departments and all of the students interested in these programs.
Yep. And as Kirsty mentions home, I know we're doing this virtually, but I want to give you a heads up. I know there's going to be some online classes, some in-person classes, but talking about home, I got to point out one thing. So I've mentioned one weird thing about SCSU. There's more than one, but here's one of them. So this is the building I work in, Robert H. Wick Science Building, and I've labeled a couple of rooms. 101 is the meteorology lab in the southeast corner. So the Mississippi River's over here, kind of behind me. Room 107 is a public classroom, and room 114 is the northeast corner. You might say, okay, cool. Well, then you figure out room 116 is way down here, which makes, okay, a little kind of weird. And then room 130 and 145, so it's a little bit more confusing. But if you try to figure out where my office is, I'm in WIC 153. Where would you expect that to be? That's right in the middle of everything. And it gets worse. So there's one more big problem, and that is there's this other piece over here on the left side, further west, where there's the annex, and they have a -1 at the end. So I mention this because we see this in scheduling every time. People will show up. I would teach a class in room 107. We'd get people trying to find 107-1. So one of the best pieces of advice I can give you, talk with your faculty. If you get a chance to walk through the buildings, go ahead and do so. Find your way around. So this comes from experience year over year over year. So for those of you that are here on campus, definitely take the time to get to know your space. So the next step that we're going to do here is that interview with the deans. So here are the folks you'll be talking to. The first one is our Dean of COSE, Dr. Adel Ali. So he's here in virtual reality for you. Dr. Maureen Tubbiola is our interim associate dean. And I am now going to kick it over to Stephen Janasie, who's COSE's experiential learning and outreach director. He and Kelsey are going to kind of basically interview the deans and get some of the information from the dean side for what we should be, or what you guys as students should prepare for, and what they do, and how we can all work together to help make you successful. Stephen.
Thanks so much, Alan. Hello, everyone. As Alan said, my name is Stephen Janasie, and I work in the Dean's Office of the College of Science and Engineering. And before I introduce you to our Dean, I just want to talk for a moment about what a Dean is, because you might not be familiar with that term. So here at St. Cloud State University, we have a university president. Our Dean and our Associate Dean are a lot like the president of the College of Science and Engineering. But unlike, say, the President of the United States, where it might be very hard for an individual citizen to get a meeting with the president, one thing we want you to know about the dean and the associate dean is, as a student, you can come and talk to these folks. You just need to schedule a meeting with the dean's office. If you're ever having a problem, you can get a meeting with the president of the college and get that solved. So get to know who your dean and your associate dean are. And with that, I want to introduce you to our dean, Dr. Adel Ali. Adel's here to walk through some questions that might be helpful to you here on your first days at St. Cloud State. And so now I'm going to switch it back to Kelsey. Kelsey, take it away with that conversation.
Absolutely. Hi, Adolf.
Yeah, hi, Kelsey.
Would you like to just
before we get into the questions, I want to say a couple of things. Thank you, Stephen, for your remark. I just want to tell all the students that all of us here are for you guys. We want to make you feel as comfortable as possible. We want you feel that you really belong here, and everyone here cares about you in every meaning of the word. So Stephen said, if you want to meet the dean or associate dean, just get an appointment. I would say if you see us walking the hallway, if you see us in the cafeteria, and you want to talk to us, just come to us and talk to us. It is not that formal. We are all here just for you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we're gonna start with a few questions. I think Maureen's gonna join us here eventually. Dr. Ali, how long have you been at SCSU and what have you done in your time here?
Well, I have been at St. Cloud State University for 7 years now. And before that, I been to University of Minnesota for 4.5 years. I have been before that in Southern Mississippi for 20 years. Before that, Lehigh University for 5. So I have been to almost all kinds of institutions, research institutions, regional comprehensive like ours, private institutions. So I have a big exposure, deep exposure to all kind of educational environment. And I'm really glad that I landed up here. I left the University of Minnesota to come here for a very good reason. So my background is a combination of, I was a mechanical engineer. I worked in industry for a while before I studied computer science, and I specialized in artificial intelligence and application in manufacturing and engineering.
Wonderful. Can you explain what the dean's office does and who the staff are in the dean's office?
Well, the dean's office, basically, this is where all the planning and management of the operation of the entire college is being done. For many students, or for majority of the students, all of this is very much invisible. But basically here where the planning starts, say, we want to have a new program because there is a need for graduates in this program. That starts here. We plan to schedule all the classes. We plan to make sure that all the labs, all the operation that is needed for classes are available. We need to serve the students to the best of our ability. That is why we have someone like you. Kelsey is what we call the student relationship director. So basically everything to deal with the students when they have an issue, it goes with Kelsey. And one of our main objectives here at COSE is to prepare you for successful career. We just don't want you to get a degree and graduate in 4 years. We measure our success of, are you prepared for successful career in the long run or not? So part of this is we have to work with employers, with industry, to make sure that we are really up to date of everything we are doing. So that's why we have someone like Stephen Janasie. Steve Janasie is an experiential learning and relationship director. So he is the one that create or arrange for opportunities for students to go and have internships or to have an opportunity to work with people in industry and many of these issues. And also we have people in the deans of staff that take care of the regional operations, but this is very much, you don't have to worry about that as a student at this point of time. What you want to keep in mind is the dean's office, it is something like up high there. We are here to serve you, we are here to support you, and make sure you always feel that you really belong here.
What are your top 2 tips that you've seen work for student success?
Actually, Kelsey,
Well,
before we get into the next question,
Yeah.
we have another person from the dean's office to introduce. Maureen, do you want to come in front of
Yes,
the mic,
Maureen,
in
come
front of
on
the camera
down.
here?
Okay. Hello. I'm getting there. There we go. Hi.
Hi, Maureen.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So,
Have you-
so Maureen, why
I-
didn't answer the same question I answered? How long have you been here? And
Yeah.
what was the question?
Okay, so I've been here about the same amount of time that some of you have been on the planet. So I've been here 18 years. This will be my 18th academic year here. And I come from the biology department. I was the chair of biology for the past 7 years until I became the interim associate dean. I teach subjects like anatomy and physiology and some of the neurobiology kinds of things. My role here in the dean's office, as far as students are concerned, I want students to make sure that they have the best experience possible. So if you have problems in your classes, the first person you go to talk about those problems is your professor. But if that isn't resolved, then you can come in to the dean's office and talk to either Kelsey, myself, or Dr. Ali, and we can help you with those kinds of problems. We have experience in the academia side. We've been instructors for years, so we know what it's like to be one of your faculty. We know what it's like to be a student. Both of us have been students for a long, long time as well, and we continue learning throughout our lives. So we can help you try to facilitate the maximal learning you have available. So your other question, what are the 2 tips that you have for students? Well, one tip that I like to give students is to treat this like it's your job, right? If you have a class that starts at 9 a.m., then you get here at 9 a.m. and you work until 5 p.m. If you want to take a couple of hours out in the middle of the day, you have a job with flexibility. So you can take from 12 to 2 off, but you need to make up that time at another time. So maybe you're going to work from 7 to 9 at night to make up for the 2 hours that you took out in the middle of the day. If you treat this like a job and you put in that much effort and you put in that number of hours to the work that you're doing, then you will be successful. People here want to help you succeed. They want to make sure that you are moving towards your goals, and we'll do what we can to help you get there.
Adel, what's your top 2 tips?
Yeah, I would say the first step I always give to students, even when I started my career as assistant professor a century ago, that there is nothing like stupid question. If you don't understand anything, or if you feel like you are not comfortable with something in your classes, please do not hesitate to ask the question. Do not tell yourself, oh, I don't want to ask this question and it sounds like silly or something like that. Maybe I would go home and read the material and ask later on. No, feel comfortable. Everyone wants to really to help you. And we understand that you don't come here loaded with knowledge. Okay, you come here to learn. So we understand. We have seen this years and years, and we want to help you out. So never ever underestimate the willingness of your professor to work with you. So my first step is when you are not clear about anything, ask, reach out for
Mhm.
help. We are ready to do that.
Absolutely. I have one more last question before we turn it over to Mark. Can you explain the difference between hybrid, high flex, and in-person classes that are being offered this fall?
Maureen?
Well, in person is pretty self-explanatory. If it's an in-person class, there's a time and a date on your schedule where you need to be there. For our classes, some of them are what we call lecture with lab. So there'll be two different times that are listed on your schedule for you to attend. So that lecture section is often when the whole group is together and you're working together with the faculty member, perhaps face to face in the same room for some more general information. But then there's usually a meeting once a week, sometimes twice a week, where there's a lab. And the lab means you go to a different kind of a room, and that room has experiments set up, has resources available for you to do stuff. The labs are really fun. You can get in there and that's where you're actually pouring things from one place to another. It's where you are building things. So make sure that you recognize that there may be two different places that you need to be for those face-to-face classes. A high flex course gives you flexibility as a student. If you want to be there face-to-face, you can be there face-to-face. If there's a day that you're not feeling well, or if there's a day that you have some other important event that you need to go to, those class meetings are also recorded so that you can log into those later and see what happened in the class that you missed. If you are not physically able to be in class, but you still want to participate in that class meeting, that flexibility means that you can be present online in that course. So you get the flexibility. And if Monday you want to go to class, and Wednesday you say, I want to log into class, and Friday you say, I want to watch the recording of the class, you have that flexibility to make that decision from day to day. Make a smart choice. See what works for you and use the thing that's going to help you learn the most. We've asked faculty to give you some early assessments so you can kind of get a sense of how you're doing in the class. If you're not doing as well as you had hoped, then maybe you want to change up the way you're addressing that high flex class. And if you've been watching recordings, maybe recordings is not the way you learn best. And maybe you should do the online present at the same time. But you may also choose to be there physically in person. That's a time where you get to meet those classmates and you can work out other kinds of arrangements or other meeting times with them so you can study together. So that's face-to-face and that's high flex. Hybrid is somewhere in between the face-to-face and the online. So some parts of the class will be face-to-face. There will be times that you need to dedicate to that class and be there physically in person. But there are also a lot of resources and a lot of things that you'll be doing online, either synchronously, meaning at the same time, or asynchronously, meaning that they're recorded and you can see them later.
Sounds good. Stephen, did any students have any questions for the deans before we turn it over to Alan and Mark?
Yeah, actually, I'm seeing two questions in Zoom, and they're both from the same student, Abdi Rashid Ibrahim. And I'm actually going to start with the second question first, I think. So this is a really good one. He wants to know if he's struggling with a class, who can he talk to other than the professor and his advisor?
Hi.
Part
You
of
are
the
more
answer
than-
is Kelsey.
Yep.
So your
if you
first
would,
stop is, I'm sorry, your
Mm.
first stop is usually your professor. And if that does not resolve your situation, then you can try either the department chair or Kelsey.
Mhm.
Kelsey is your student relations director. She's here to help you navigate those kinds of questions.
Yeah. And I think one key word definitely within my role is I am your advocate. That's something when you're thinking about my role, not only relationship director, but I am your advocate. I am a voice for you within the college, and I'm always happy to help.
Okay, so the second question is related. It's a little bit broader, and it might be more difficult to answer, but I still want you all to take a stab at it. He's also wondering, in a general sense, how can we achieve our goals as students, and who do you recommend that we should stay in touch with as we're working towards those goals? So other
Can
than
you
the
repeat
people
the
we've
question,
mentioned already.
Stephen, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. So do you have any recommendations as deans as to how students can achieve their goals and who they should stay in touch with as they're working towards those goals? So who are the most important people to start building relationships with as they're working through their studies over the next 4 to 5 years?
Well, the student advisor going to play a major role in this. Advisors here are not just to tell you what classes you are going to take. Advisors here will be very much like your mentor. So basically, you will discuss with them about your career objective, and you will tell you about what you should be doing, because it is not just about taking classes. There are many things that you will be doing here at the university level that sharpen your skills, either in communication, in teamwork, in career management, things that employers are looking for to make sure that you're going to be an asset to them. So your advisor, you don't want to go to your advisor and ask them, "Oh, just tell me the courses that 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 I should take." Your advisor has the profession that you are. I mean, if I'm teaching software engineering, this means I'm a software engineer by definition as well. So this is the person that you should insist of having a dialogue with, not just once a semester. You have to go to them frequently and ask them about your preparation and your objective and how you're going to be prepared to achieve your goal.
Wonderful. We are going to
Another
have to move over.
suggestion Another suggestion is to use your peers. We have student organizations on campus of people with the same interests and goals that you have. Find those people, work with those people, and they can help you not only commiserate as you go through, so you can talk about how you navigate the systems that we have, but they can also be a step ahead of you and you see what's coming next. So that peer group is also very important for you.
Absolutely. We
They'll
are
be your
gonna
friends
go-
for the rest of your life.
They really, I am still really good friends with my freshman roommate. I just saw her on the.
Just a follow up to the comments that Adel was giving. How will a new student find their student advisor?
Well, during the first year, there is a professional advisor that makes the general advising, and this is an advising center. Also, during later on, few months later, we would like to ease you into an advisor in your department, because you need to get some advice about courses that you're going to need to take in the first year. Otherwise, this will delay your entire graduation if you don't take them in time. So there is kind of like a almost dual advising during the first year. But after that, you will be assigned an advisor in your own department.
Mhm.
If we have time for one more question, this has actually come from multiple students. They're wondering, given that we have sort of all of these different course options, if you have a schedule that is fully online, are there still opportunities to meet your professors face to face, or will you only be meeting with those professors online throughout the course of this semester?
No, absolutely. You can come to meet your professor face to face. Absolutely. This is, I mean, the only time if you do not meet your professor face to face, if the professor themselves are not on campus, because some professors are teaching online from, I mean, we recruit the best people from all over the nation to teach sometimes some courses online because specific expertise. So in this case, this meeting got to be in case and I can Zoom meeting or something like that. But this is very rare.
All right. Well, let's
Yeah,
head
our
over.
That I
faculty
have for
have
questions.
well, our
ahead, Maureen.
faculty have made arrangements to be able to meet with students face to face in a safe setting. Some of their offices are a bit small, and you don't want to be trapped in a small office with somebody right now. But they have made those arrangements where there are conference rooms and other places that they can meet. They also discovered in the spring that they really love Zoom advising. It works well. The student it doesn't necessarily have to drive in to ask a question. They can pop in to ask a question. You can see them. They can pull up documents and show you what they're looking at. They found the Zoom advising to work really well. You can also contact department chairs if you have questions about your discipline or which advisor is most appropriate for you. If you are one of the pre-health majors, if you're a pre-PA major, we have somebody who specializes in PA programs. If you are pre-medicine, we have somebody who specializes in medicine. If you want to go to chiropractic school, we have somebody who specializes in that. So they can help connect you to the correct advisor for your future professional goals.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you to our deans. We are going to head over to two of our professors just to kind of give you a little presentation. Thank you so much, you two. We really appreciate it and ready for the new year.
Thanks. Have
Thank you.
fun. Most of all, have fun.
All right, so we're back over here. Let me quickly introduce Dr. Mark Petzold. He's one of our fellow faculty members from electrical and computer engineering. So I will let you take off here with this first slide.
Okay, this slide talks about competence versus knowledge in the field, and it's something known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a wonderful, wonderful chart here. What's your big takeaway from the chart like this? You'll find a lot of students in class saying, yeah, I know it all. I know everything. Well, if you notice up here, and I'm trying to point to it, if you notice up there, the I know everything is high confidence, but very little knowledge. If you're down there saying, I'm never going to understand this, you need to recognize you're actually on the pathway to understanding it. You probably understand it more than the people who say they know it all. So, be aware of that. Be aware of what the learning process looks like. It's not that you come in knowing everything. It's you come in struggling with things, trying to figure out how to do things. And so, having this idea that I'm never going to understand this, it's hard for me, is not, that's good. Struggle with the material and work towards it.
Right. And that's what we're here to help with, is to help you get from that I know everything from the beginning through part of that valley. And there's another name for that valley that you'll hear a lot. And this is something we see all the time, is this idea of imposter syndrome, that I don't belong here. I'm not smart enough to be a part of this. Every one of us that teaches, that's been through this, have felt this on multiple occasions. I don't belong in school. I'm not smart enough for this class, whatever else. It's all a part of it. So when you compare where you actually are to where you think you are, you can end up on either side of this line. Ideally, you'd know exactly how smart you were with something, but we found over years and years of research that it really is this balance of both. But do know that you're probably not as smart as you think you are if you're overzealous. There's times where you're going to feel like you're really behind. You probably aren't. It's probably just this feeling that, oh boy, everybody else in class seems like they know way more than I do. Trust me, sitting from the faculty side, they don't always know that much more than you do. Usually, everybody's confused. So go ahead, ask questions, do that kind of thing.
More friendly advice, failure isn't a bad thing. Here we have something from Carol Dweck. Failure is information. We label it failure. You need to look at things, this didn't work. You get into class, you fail your first quiz, you get a bad grade on your first homework assignment, maybe even you fail your first test. That's information. Your study methods aren't working. Go find help. Talk to Kelsey, talk to your professor, talk to your other students in the class, find out something that is working, but don't let failure just sit there. Use it as information to improve for the next time around. And this is really big. It's big in science. I mean, we've all in science and engineering, we've dealt with failures, this worked or this didn't work, and we learn from it and move on. But you're in a learning environment and you need to be successful in learning. And that means looking at your failures, backing up and figuring out why it failed, and then moving ahead. Did you get an F on the homework because you didn't put enough time in it? Did you get an F on the quiz because you didn't study for the right material? You're missing something that the professor is trying to stress to you. What is it? Figure it out and move forward with it.
All right. And then last thought here, I'll keep this very brief. Scott Adams has this idea of a talent stack. And the idea is you don't necessarily want to just become the best at one thing. You would like to become competent at multiple different skills. So what he talks about here is being good at a bunch of related useful skills. Dr. Petzold can completely attest to this with me. If you're in engineering, if you're in science, learning how to write is essential because you're going to have to write up reports for people. Learning how to speak in public is essential. So learn a bunch of related skills and put all those pieces together. One of the reasons to talk with your advisor is to help figure out what skills will help you with the career path you want to take. And within the world of engineering or meteorology, there's tons of different jobs. It's figuring out which path and what skills you need for that. And that's where your advisors are especially useful for you. So keep that in mind. Don't just go for one thing. What else can you do with it? What other skills, what other tools can you bring to the table? So with that, let me invite Stephen and Kelsey back up here. Come on in.
Up by you.
Stephen's going to hang out. He's shy. All right.
Give me one moment. I'm just putting some information on Zoom, and I actually have a question related to the info on Zoom. So I've just posted Zoom sessions for all of our departments, and a couple of the students are wondering, how do they know which session to go to?
So that is a great question. When we were talking about the college earlier, we were mentioning the departments in college. So like manufacturing and mechanical and manufacturing engineering. That's in the MME department. So students who are interested in those majors would want to go into that link into the breakout room or into that Zoom meeting. Same thing with meteorology students. You would want to go into the atmospheric and hydraulic sciences, so AHS. Math, you'd want to go into the math, physics, and so on and so forth. If you have a question on a specific major, feel free to put it in the chat and we will help guide you.
Great, and I'm actually responding to some chat in Zoom right now. So
wonderful.
Just give me a moment.
All right, so let's give people, I think, the chance to get to these breakout rooms. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we hope to see you this afternoon for engagement activity events. We will be meeting in Huskies Plaza. Please look at your email for your session. Natural sciences and with the meteorology students are at 1 to 3. And our science and computer science and manufacturing engineering are from 3 to 4:30. Meet your orientation leaders in Husky Plaza at your session times, and we look forward to everyone.
Yep. And just a reminder up there on the screen, if you have further questions, once we're done with the Zoom and everything else, email cozy at stcloudstate.edu, and we'll be good from there. Thank you all for coming. Hope to see you around
Thank you.
campus. Don't be a stranger. Say hi to all of us when you see us in person, on Zoom, any of those other things. We're all here to help you. So with that note, thank you.
Thank you.